What's up, guys, and welcome back to another episode of Coffee with Coach. Today, we're going to be talking about hand care. Now, I've had this conversation with probably 10 people in the last 2 weeks, so usually that's a good sign to me that I need to make a video so that more people can get this question answered. So, how do you take care of your hands in CrossFit, weightlifting, whatever it's going to be, okay? First off, the big topic there is going to be your calluses, right? So calluses are just a protective toughening or thickening of the skin wherever there's lots of friction or pressure. So you're going to see that you're going to callus on your feet or your hands pretty much nowhere else, or hopefully nowhere else. But yeah, so it's just a layer of skin that's toughening to give you a little bit of extra protection where you're consistently receiving friction or pressure. So obviously, if you're starting to hang off of bars, lift weights, you're going to start to get a little bit more on your hands, which is a good thing. Now, what's key though is how you actually maintain your calluses. And this is where most people kind of make some mistakes. They just kind of let their calluses grow out of control. They'll start to bunch up and get snags. And then you start to deal with tearing, or just like you kind of have a really gross handshake for a while, right? So whatever your intent is, making sure that we're maintaining our calluses and taking care of our hands is really important in general. So first things first, you got to make sure that you're keeping your skin hydrated, because what that is essentially just dead skin, right? So it's important that you pick a good hand lotion to use on a regular basis and keep hydrated, especially after you work out. So most of us use chalk. Chalk will dry your hands out like crazy. So my little post-workout ritual always is to wash my hands, getting chalk off my hands, and then I use some hand lotion. I have a specific brand that I enjoy, but I would look for something that's specifically for hands because it's accommodating for, that thicker skin and calluses on your hands. Plenty of options out there. If you need some recommendations, I guess put a comment under the video and I'll give you some recommendations. But another thing is making sure that you're not gathering any potential snagging points. So maybe one of your calluses is tearing just a little bit, kind of fraying. It's really important that you use something to get that to be smooth again, because sometimes you can have perfect technique and just have a callus that's really bunched up or already kind of starting to tear off a little bit. And that can turn into a tear where it normally would not have if you had maintained it well. So a few options for kind of trimming down your calluses are going to be using a razor, right? Just like a razor you would shave with, and just kind of set one aside to be your callus trimmer. That one's tricky because you can wind up shaving a little bit more off your callus than you want. Remember, you want that protective layer. You just want it to be smooth. They do sell callus shavers, and you can also use a pumice stone. Those things all work really well to help keep your calluses trimmed down. So you can actually have hands that don't look callousy and gross. Mine are not a good example, but you can have hands that don't look callousy and gross, but are still look very smooth, but still have those calluses there if you are diligent with your hand care. So what if you blister or tear in a workout? First off, let's talk about why that happens. Generally, that's a technique or grip strength issue. So maybe you have good technique with like how maybe you're kipping or doing rope climbs or gripping the barbell, but just as you're getting tired, your grip strength is kind of giving out and that bar starts sliding in your hand a little bit, or you start to let your hand slide on the barbell. Well, that's where you're going to see most blisters or tears occurs, when you're getting excess friction past the point where your body can handle it, and you just wind up sliding layers of skin and tearing or blistering. So it's really important. We obviously want you to be able to train even if you have a torn hand, but that can be pretty uncomfortable. So your first step is going to be, even if it's the middle of a workout, unless it's a workout that you're going to get paid for, like potentially win a competition for, you're going to want to stop what you're doing, go wash your hands, and as soon as you can, if you have any skin hanging off, you're going to want to trim that. And you want to trim it as close to flat as you possibly can, because anyone who's torn before can tell you, if you leave a little bit of that skin still on there, you can tear again, and you can tear a lot worse into healthier skin that then causes it to become something that has a much longer healing process than just a normal tear. Because usually what's happening with a normal tear is you're just kind of getting that callus layer knocked off, and you've got some pretty healthy new skin underneath that heals pretty fast. But if you tear into other skin that's not calloused, it's a different story. It's a much bloodier mess. But anyway, so we want to make sure that you're cleaning it, that you're trimming down any spots that might potentially tear again, and that for workouts, you're going to want to make sure that, number one, your hands are clean when you start. Go ahead and tape over that area. If you need some help learning how to tape correctly, ask any of our coaches and we can help you out. But you want to make sure that you're keeping it covered. That way you're also having a little bit less friction on that spot, so it's not hurting you quite as bad. Lots of different ways to approach that, but then once you do that, you want to go back up to square one and make sure you're paying attention to hydration, keeping your hands clean, getting any excess chalk off your hands after your workouts. Kind of that way you have nice, healthy calluses that you can shake people's hands and not give them like a cheese grater experience and not tear as frequently. Okay, cool. Hope that was helpful, you guys. As usual, have a good rest of your day. And thanks for listening to Coffee with Coach.